under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Smash that like button. Let's go. What's up? Hey. What's up? So this video is going to be a quick video on an update about Keimani Latigue. Hold on, I'm trying to get this. Music in the background. Trying to see where I am. All right, so yeah, I know this is like kind of an impromptu live. We are going to. I wasn't feeling well earlier, so I had to go, and so I wanted to finish up the Lori Daybell trial because I don't want to fall behind. So, but I saw this update for Keimani Latigue, and I wanted to do an update on it. Give me one moment. So yeah, excuse me one moment. Somebody's sent me a text. Um, all right. So yeah, this is a kind of impromptu live. I was going to do. I am going to finish the case today from. Excuse me. The Doomsday Mom, because I left early right after they went out to lunch because I wasn't feeling well, so I needed to go. And yeah, but I wanted to finish because I don't want to fall too far behind. So, but I did see this update for Keimani Latigue, and I did want to just talk about that. Because that is a very sad story in itself. And we covered it. We did cover it here. And so I saw that there's an update. I just wanted to talk about it really fast. And then we're going to finish the Doomsday Mom. But I'm going to leave the stream and go back into that. I did have that one set up. I pushed it back. So now we're here. So let's just see here. So the cause of the unaliving of Keimani Latigue has finally been revealed, but what really happened? In this video, we break down the latest updates, the family's reactions, and the unanswered questions surrounding this tragic case. Stay tuned for more exclusive details and um, during this time. And if you are here and it's your first time, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. It's a free way to support the show. Um, and I'm not sure if I said it or not, but I'll say it again. I'm Survivor Speaks, your favorite breast cancer survivor. And we do all things true crime over here. Not all things. Sometimes we dibble and dabble in what is that? Celebrity stuff, but for the most part, we are just a true crime junkie. So I cover all different types of cases. We do rewinds also because there are a lot of cases that people haven't heard about. Or myself, I run into it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see this. I didn't do this case. Like, where was I? So anyhow, without further ado, being that this is just an update, and we're going to finish the excuse me, Lori Vallow trial. Let's get right to it. I don't know why I did that. All right, so let me share my screen. So the video you're going to be seeing is from Law and Crime on the Case with Chris Stewart. What's up, Allie? Thank you for being here. Thank you. All right, we're going to get right into this case because we do have the Lori Daybell trial to finish because today, as I stated, you know what? Let me change the title to this. I'm going to change my title really quick because yeah. So, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I do believe that yeah, so it's a trigger warning for this one. You know, anytime we talk about a child being alive and unalive by their father, it's really, 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 truly disturbing. But you know what am I doing? I can just leave it. I do like that. I did better. All right, so let's go. I'm going to bring out the over the video. As I stated, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I believe it's scrolling across the screen. We do have something to drop in the chat about a trigger warning as well. Maybe I'll put one across the screen. Oh, thanks, Allie. Allie got it. So I want them to be able to see the bottom, I guess, because when I put that bottom over there, they should be able to see the video. I just want to make sure I put the trigger warning up. All right, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and start this so that we can finish Lori out.
Keimani Latigue. Police say she went missing on March 18th. 6 days later, on March 24th, this elementary school student was found dead inside a home in Toledo, Ohio. It was a burned out, vacant house. The coroner in Toledo released this statement saying an autopsy showed that Keimani was found with multiple incision wounds to the neck. That means something that was sharp, like a knife, was used to kill her. A day prior to Keimani's body being found, authorities put out an arrest warrant for her father. Here's his picture. His name is Darnell Jones. He also goes by Darnell Ogletree, according to court records. And there are plenty of court records related to this man. He has a lengthy criminal history. He's been accused of arson, assault, also illegally carrying a firearm. We'll talk a little bit more about his criminal record in just a moment, but let's get to this newly released body cam video of what went down when he was put under arrest. This video is from Columbus, Ohio police.
Where am I? Don't do it. What's your hands? Kill me. Dude, show me your hands right now. Pull your hand out. I swear to God.
Watch that there. At that moment, you can see Jones make a sudden movement and the officer fires multiple times. Now, I can't show you the moment that officers actually opened fire because of rules on YouTube. You also might have heard what sounds like Jones saying, quote, "Just kill me," as the officer pulls his weapon to confront him on the street. Let's pick up this video as officers search Jones, who is on the ground, wounded, but still alive.
Shots fired. Shots fired. There for the second. Get back,
don't move. Don't move!
All right, so back down. All you guys are okay.
Don't move. He's got 33 right there.
33 in his hand?
No, it's a walkie-talkie, but there's 33s right here. Don't you move or you're going to get shot, okay? All right? Got it. Yep. That's him. Somebody get on the main air. Get us a medic.
I'm working on it.
Now, if you look closely at the video, you can see the gun that Jones allegedly pulled on police. At the time of this recording, Jones is still in the hospital recovering in Columbus. He faces a charge of felonious assault on a police officer on top of the murder charge that he's facing in Toledo for allegedly killing his own daughter. The head of the police union in Columbus spoke to the media after Jones was arrested. He said that there was a bolo put out for Jones and officers knew who to look for. He also said this, according to WTOL-TV.
This case is one of the most horrific cases I ever heard. This is a 14-year-old that was murdered, raped, had her hands cut off, and her throat almost cut off. This is an absolute animal that came into our town.
That is a chilling, disturbing, heartbreaking description of the type of case that authorities are dealing with. We looked into Jones' criminal history. It is lengthy, it is violent, and here's what it shows. In 2011, he was arrested for arson for allegedly lighting a commercial building on fire. Then, in 2015, he was arrested for carrying a gun after being convicted of the 2011 felony arson. A witness said in that case he had fired the gun outside a home in Toledo. Then in 2017, we found that he was arrested for felony assault, where police say Jones smashed an alternator into the face of a man and sent him to the hospital where he had to receive 20 stitches. Then in 2022, he was arrested again for carrying a weapon while having been a convicted felon. And the most disturbing charges, of course, now are the ones that he is facing for allegedly killing his own 13-year-old daughter. Court documents show he is charged with murder as well as assault and abduction. The court records say that Jones removed his daughter without consent of her guardian, reportedly her grandmother, from her home. The document also says that when police spoke with Jones, he gave inconsistent statements about where he went with his daughter. This is certainly a story that sticks with you because the details are so heartbreaking, and that is certainly the case when you see how the community in Toledo, Ohio have responded to what happened. According to WTOL, Keimani was in the 7th grade at an elementary school in North Toledo. She was on the honor roll. She loved to play basketball with her friends. A district spokesperson said that Keimani was set to receive a kindness award before she was killed. And there are certainly major questions about the red flags that were potentially missed. Lucas County Children's Services in Toledo is planning to review how it handled all interactions with Keimani Latigue and asked the state for a review. The head of the organization told WTVG that they feel they were thorough in her case. They say that Keimani was in the custody of her grandmother, who did admit to using physical discipline, but they said there was no evidence that meant that Keimani should have been taken from the home. They also say the teen told them that she felt safe in the home. Hey, I want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, Experian, for sponsoring this episode of On the Case. Experian can help you get your finances.
Ciao. Just in the way. I'm sorry. I had to
Judge
forward
Rutgers,
through
always
that.
great to have you, sir, on Law and Crime. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. This is a really tough case, just in terms of a young girl who lost her life. And then it seems somewhat complicated because you have multiple jurisdictions now after the SWAT-involved shooting in Columbus. How do the courts handle this going forward, knowing he's going to face serious charges in Columbus, Ohio, but then the most serious charges allegedly killing his daughter in Toledo, Ohio?
Well, thank you for having me today. I'm glad to be here, although I hate the fact that we're talking about such a horrific case. The facts and circumstances of this young girl's tragic death are almost unspeakable. As that chief said, this is one of the worst cases he's ever seen. The question of what jurisdiction handles the case first or what order is usually decided as between the jurisdictions who have the cases. A lot of times we see cases that are related, but they have handles in different courts. For example, if a federal court brings charges, a federal prosecutor brings charges against an individual for certain crimes, but they're also lateral or related state charges, they'll come up with an agreement as between the two of them, which of those charges will actually be prosecuted or the order in which they'll be prosecuted. Here, this is different because there are two state courts involved, and although the incident is related, the charges are not. There is no need to prove or disprove the facts of one in order to establish the elements of the other. So they're really unrelated. So there's any number of ways that the courts could decide which of these cases is heard first. There is no statute of limitation for murder, which is what this individual is facing in Toledo. So arguably, Toledo could say, hey, look, we can pause our case indefinitely while you handle the case in Columbus because there is a statute of limitations to proceed on. They could do that by agreement. Or Columbus could say, well, your charges are much more serious and we like the evidence that you have to move forward. We will yield and allow you to prosecute him. And then if and when he's convicted, we'll decide how we want to proceed with our charges that are, quote, less serious, although they're extremely serious. But the allegation is he had a gun and was in a shootout somehow with SWAT in Columbus. The other thing that could happen is the courts could decide. I mean, the prosecutor, we're talking about the right of the prosecutors to kind of communicate with each other and decide how they're going to proceed. But the courts also could have a say-so. So each judge can say, this is my schedule. My schedule says that we're going to have a pretrial conference in 6 months and a trial will be conducted in 11 months. The other case or the other court could say, we're having a pretrial in 5 months and our trial is going to be had in 9 months. And that then would dictate the order of proceeding because if the courts say this is when we're going to have these hearings, then the lawyers and the defendant and the witnesses need to be ready in that court when the court speaks.
Because you look at this case and murder cases already, I mean, timeline-wise, in many cases, you're talking months, if not longer, to go from arrest to conviction. Now you add on this case in Columbus related to allegedly pulling a gun. We've seen some body cam video, allegedly pulls a gun on an officer who then fires back, shooting and wounding Darnell Jones. In terms of the timeline of when he could be done facing charges, what does that look like, knowing that there are two separate cases that couldn't run at the same time?
Yeah, well, cases can certainly run at the same time. There can be parallel charges that are prosecuted and that are handled by cases. Of course, the difficulty is here, we're talking about jurisdictions that are 100, 200 miles apart. So there's a question of extradition, which means transporting a defendant from one county or from one place to the other. And because of the expense, because of the safety concerns, because of the mechanics of doing that, it would be more efficient if the cases are heard and completed before the person is transferred to the other jurisdiction for the case to be resolved. In Ohio, we have certain timelines that judges are supposed to operate for cases to be resolved. Those timelines move, and they're also flexible, considering the seriousness of the charges. With misdemeanors, cases that a person is facing either 6 months or a year, depending on certain misdemeanor charges, the Supreme Court generally requires that those cases be resolved within a year. Felonies, kidnapping charges, rape cases, murder cases, the timeline is much longer and much more flexible. And again, the more serious charge, which means the longer timeline to have the case resolved, is in Toledo with the murder, the abduction, and what may be additional charges after more evidence is investigated and disclosed.
Yeah, it's just the details of what we've been told, this young girl, the state she was in when she was found inside this home. And I know as a judge, I mean, you've had some very, I guess, frankly, disturbing people in your courtroom who've been accused and convicted of very disturbing crimes in your career. I mean, when you look at someone like this, who is accused of something, not just to another human being, but his own daughter, I mean, how do we, as we look at these details, try to make sense of what this suspect is accused of?
Yeah. One of my early cases as a judge involved an individual who was accused of being a serial killer. The police brought the warrant to me that justified going through his belongings and ultimately placing him under arrest, and the details of what he did to the young lady who they had the facts of and who they had found. And then the day that they brought him in front of the court with several security officers around him, it causes you to wonder, how do we as a society produce individuals who are capable of committing such, again, unspeakable acts? And then when you add the component that this is allegedly the daughter of the individual who's accused of murdering her, and then we add the element, the sexual assault, the fact that her hands were cut off and she had significant wounds to her neck, as if, and indicating that's what actually killed her. That, how do we grasp and deal with that as individuals? And more importantly, what do we need to do, searching every corner of our minds to prevent the possibility of such a thing ever happening again? It's a tough question, which we have the answers.
No, it is. And it's one of those stories that just sticks with you when you think about like how something like this could happen. And there are certainly questions for the Child Protective Services group in the Toledo area. And they were apparently involved. They believe it was a thorough review that they had on their case, that they were in touch with this family, and they're trying to figure out what more they could have done. I think about the accusations facing Darnell Jones. And for you as a judge, knowing that, let's just say it's a pretty strong case that the prosecution may have of a horrific crime that he's accused of committing, how do you as a judge still make sure that it is a fair trial and that this suspect, which at this point, as horrific as the accusations are, he is innocent until proven guilty? What needs to happen inside the courtroom to make sure that that stays that way?
In 2007, I took an oath as a judge to handle and to review and consider every single one of my cases without bias, with impartiality, and with the understanding that every person standing in front of me is innocent unless and until the state proves their case by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It was an obligation that every one of our hundreds of judges in the state of Ohio, really across the country, agreed to accept and to execute our duties consistent with those oaths. The truth is, we are human. And as much as we intentionally and deliberately put aside those biases that we may normally have as citizens, which I do have now as an attorney, that I couldn't exercise as a judge, it's difficult. But again, we have great responsibility in these positions. And so with those great responsibilities come a very focused and intentional effort to do exactly that. And that is to see that the person standing in front of us is in fact innocent, unless the charges are proven. And at that time, we are required to fairly sentence them, even fair in the sentencing. But what is fair when we consider the malicious, heinous, horrible, tortious acts of an individual? Well, the sentences, I hope, do and should reflect their actions and not our anger or bias against the individual. But it's not easy, and I won't mix words about that.
No, it's not easy, especially with the details that we're learning from police of what allegedly happened to this young girl. He's charged with murder, assault, and abduction, but especially with that murder charge, when, like what we were just saying, accusations of sexual assault, hands that were cut off in the body, it honestly hurts to even say that. But I mean, this feels like it was more than murder. It feels like this wasn't just a quick death, it seems. How could charges be added to this case? Is there a way to add charges to this case if the evidence shows that that is what happened?
Yeah, so the charges that we haven't seen, although I think they're kind of alluded to, is number one, the fact that this young lady was subjected to a sexual assault. Specifically, it says she was raped. He's not currently charged with rape. He's charged with felonious assault, which means that there was an intent to cause physical harm, and as a result of causing that physical harm, now the murder, so that those are separate offenses that could be aligned. Through further investigation or through evidence presented to the grand jury, additional charges could certainly be added. We know that abduction was added. Well, perhaps with further evidence, perhaps talking to witnesses, or even with statements from the defendant, which we don't know anything right now about what they have. We know they have charges, and we know we have some facts leading to a conclusion, but we don't know the details of what law enforcement has learned through the course of this investigation. In the coming weeks, of course, and during the course of preparing for trial, we certainly will find out that evidence. But of course, more charges could be added. Now, currently, I'm not aware whether Toledo or Lucas County is seeking the death penalty in this case. Certainly, there are facts that could be aligned with this incident that could result in the state seeking the death penalty. Again, we don't have that right now. I'm not aware that he's been charged with a capital crime. He's been charged with murder. He's been charged with murder and abduction. However, if they do add a kidnapping charge, they do add a rape charge, then they could very easily increase the significance of this charge to include a death penalty specification because of the related act that was committed in view of the murder. That is a potential.
There's a lot of questions for the local Child Protective Services organization in Lucas County, Ohio. What red flags were missed? There's going to be a review of this organization. It's hard. And when families have tough dynamics, this girl was in the custody of her grandmother. Which it is a tough job to work in as a social worker. How much confidence do you have in the system that is in place? Because so often when we hear about the DCF organizations of the world, it's often in the cases where something terrible has happened and there's just that question of what more could have been done.
Well, it's kind of like flying an airplane. And, early this year, there were some plane crashes that got a lot of attention and caused a lot of people to be concerned about flying. The reality is that millions of people fly every week without any problems. All it takes is one for the rules to be reviewed and for processes to be reconsidered to see if something needs to change. The same here. The number of children that go through our jobs and family services agencies across the state of Ohio is huge. And for the most part, the processes, I think, work. And their procedures are in place because at some point in time, they decided that those were the best procedures for how to monitor and take care of the children that are under their supervision. But again, all it takes is one instance for those processes and for the individuals involved to be reviewed. I've certainly seen and at times have been involved in lawsuits against family services agencies because of something being missed and tragic results of death or rapes or serious bodily injury to children under circumstances that shouldn't have happened. I hope that that's not the case here. I do know that they're going to be investigating every step of the process. We do know that this young lady had been in the custody of her grandmother since she was an infant. We do know, according to reports, that in 2023 and 2024, Jobs and Family Services showed up to investigate because there were allegations of corporal punishment that went too far, and the grandmother was counseled as a result of it. But they concluded that there was no reason to remove the child from the home in those instances. I don't hear from those allegations anything related to the allegations against his father having committed these horrible offenses against his daughter. But I can promise you there'll be some lawyer, not only an investigative agency, but there'll be some lawyer who'll be reviewing this to determine whether there is some liable party and a proper lawsuit to be brought for failures that shouldn't have happened.
And in the case of a review of a family services agency, what does that actually look like? If the agency comes forward and they held a news conference the other day and said, we felt we were thorough, we know when they went to the house. At this point, we don't know any interaction they had with Darnell Jones. We know about the interactions with the grandmother. What more could a review uncover that could potentially stop something like this from happening again?
Yeah. So what an investigation like that includes is a detailed review of the notes of the investigators or the social workers who visited the homes. Sure, we have an initial statement that everything we did was okay, and we concluded that those are the conclusions. Now there needs to be a detailed review of the notes that led to those conclusions. Was something missed in a sentence about there was an allegation that the father was coming around too much? There was a suggestion that simply was ignored. That's what the investigation, a detailed investigation, results in. There could be a detailed review of the file to see if there were any telephone complaints that were not followed up on, or that they were followed up on, but they couldn't reach somebody to get more information about what may have been the source of that complaint. I mean, there's any number of things that we don't know, other than right now their statement that, yeah, we investigated and we didn't find a reason to remove. Well, okay, that's the conclusion from the agency. Now let's look at how you arrived at that conclusion, and if there was something in those notes that revealed that there may have or should have been a different outcome from that investigation.
Man, there are just so many questions beyond the case itself that we'll be continuing to follow in this story. Retired Judge Fanon Rucker, it is always great to have you on Law and Crime, even when the stories are as difficult to talk about, just like this one. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Jones had been in the hospital recovering from the gunshot wounds from that shootout with SWAT in Columbus. He has now been transferred to a jail in the capital city of Ohio. WBNS reported that Jones is now being held without bond in Columbus. He waived his first court appearance, and authorities have 15 days to send him back to Toledo, where he will face the charges connected to his daughter's alleged murder. For On the Case presented.
All right, so he's going to play music, so I have to turn that off. All right, so welcome, Christine Fortunato. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you can hit that like button, it's a free way to support the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. So we just did a quick update on Keimani Latigue. Now, there were some things about this trial that are, I'm going to say it's eerie, right? One being the grandmother. They're saying the grandmother is more involved than what we know. Hey, Rebecca. So the grandmother is more involved than what we know. And that wasn't true what he said in the report. The grandmother did not have the child from an infant. as an infant. The grandmother got the child, had the child for about 5 years. So she was 13 years old. So she, was aware of where she was, but she did not have custody of her since she was a baby. There is a teacher that is speaking out. And she's saying, the teacher said, we went over that in the last video. The teacher is heartbroken. She's saying that she contacted CPS. She contacted them because Imani came to school with bruises on her all the time. She was working hard to get Keimani out of her grandmother's house. She said this breaks her up. Here we have another case where CPS is just not doing their job. So the fact that they came to the home and did a welfare check, and she had disciplined Keimani to tell her how to hit her without leaving bruises. That's just the way I'm saying it. That's just the way I believe and understand it. Because she said, I had training out there, and they told me how to properly spank her, but without leaving the bruises. So, and where to spank her. Like, to me, like, at this point, she already did it. Why would you be giving her, like, instructions on just to beat the child, but do it like this so that she won't get the bruises on her? But the teacher said it was a constant every day. Keimani told them that she was scared to go home. She didn't want to go home. She was scared to go home. And this is another thing. Well, you know what? I can't say that. So what I was about to say, she was making the school aware. Of course, if she's around a grandmother and CPS comes and does a welfare check, she's going to say, yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing okay. Yeah, because the grandmother is there. Even if they make her go in the next room, a child still has that fear in them. How did the grandmother didn't know he wasn't the real father? Was there a report, Rebecca? Was there a report that he wasn't the real father? Wow. There are some more interesting things going on with this case, though, right? So the grandmother is really, really, really suspect. She's suspect. So basically, supposedly she worked overnight. Keimani was 13? She left her home alone. She called her father allegedly, stating that she was scared. And he said him and his friend went over there for a little while. She was there with the dog. So how did she get moved to the abandoned building? Right? Sad case. But I just wanted to bring that update really quick because we're going to finish our Lori Dable story. We left off. I wasn't feeling well. Those that were here know. We also have a emoji for Keimani because I'm going to start a new stream for Lori Daybell because I don't want to miss the two. Well, I've already have it up. I just need to end this one and then I'm going to go over there. But we do have a did I not make Keimani's emoji? Oh yeah, we do have an emoji for Keimani. It's next to the black sneaker. So I put her hashtag, and if you're here in the chat and you are a member, please drop the Keimani hashtag. She is next to the black sneaker. And I hope that they see justice and get everyone that is involved in this case, regardless to who they are. Now, according to what they're saying, I do want to say this also before we go. Supposedly, he brought Keimani to see her mother. The day, was it the day of the unaliving, or yeah, I know he brought Keimani to see his mother because they were questioning that. No, that house, she was in that was an abandoned house where they found her. If you look at the, there is a video with them bringing her out the house, and she's claiming that she told them to put her in cuffs because people was harassing her. She's a whole mess. Like a lot of things that she told during the interview that see on the channel, they was not true. Oh, you doing a Lori J. Bell trial? You have a channel. Christine Fortunato, you can just put yes or no in the chat. Just asking. So she says she's doing the Lori J. Bell trial. So yeah, we're covering the Lori J. Bell trial here on my channel as well, and that's what we're going to leave this and go over to finish today's trial, as because when they went to lunch, I wasn't feeling well, so my people. Oh, okay. Great to know that. So the people that were here know that I wasn't feeling well early, so I went to sleep. So I wanted to go ahead and finish the after lunch portion of the Lori Dable trial on day 4. So tomorrow we will be good with starting, with day 5 on time. But I just wanted to bring you all that tidbit about Keimani, because you know that it's crazy. There are so many, cases that are out there with no trial date yet that interest me. So, as you all well know, that when the Naziah Harris case starts, that's a priority for me over here. We're going to be live streaming that here, but I think we're going to be doing a twofer when Naziah Harris's case starts, because we're going to be covering that while it's live stream, and there is another case that I'm calling it the Jay Lee case, Justice for Jay Lee. To be honest with you right now, I can't even think of the young man that unalived him, his name, because when I was going over, I didn't pay his name too much mind, because I think that the victims need more. But it's a good case. That case is crazy. I don't know how that got past me, but we have another trial starting up in October regarding that case too, and I definitely want to be all over it, because when we looked at the first trial, I was going to just cover the important witnesses, and we couldn't. I mean, we were over here. We could not. Everything was important. So, yeah, so we are going to be doing that. His case starts the same. The trial starts the same month as Naziah in October, and we do have one more hearing for Naziah coming up in June. Maybe notes here. It's in June. I have to find my notes to see where I wrote it at. What day in June? They're having a final hearing, I guess, to work out everything else that is going to be going on with the trial. So we have that one coming up, and this month, and I will let you guys know, I have to actually pull that up. If you remember baby Emily Boswell, her mother, brainwash cases, her mother, this was the grandmother. Yep, she did. That's what she said in the interview. You wasn't here, Allie? Yes, in the interview, they said, we heard you were taken to the precinct. She was like, yeah. When the police came, because they were harassing her, people was outside the house. There was a lot of people that showed up. So she said, I told them to put me in handcuffs, so to make it seem like they were arresting me to get these people off her back. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but when you're seeing the story develop, and then you hear from the teacher that was fighting so hard for Keimani, who says she was bruised every day. She tried to get her removed from that home. She said Keimani did express to them on more than one occasion that she was scared to go home. And then now she's not here anymore. So CPS, they're failing us left and right, because if you went to the home and didn't find anything, but you gave the grandmother training about how to hit her, how to discipline her and spank her, and where to spank her at, the proper way to spank her. That bothered me in itself, that you wanted to keep saying the proper way to chastise her and spank her. And so they're saying that the grandmother presented Keimani in one light, and that's not how she was. So we have to wait till more things unfold in that case. It's a sad one. But Emily Boswell, I'm going to really, because something is telling me it's April 15th, 11 to the 12th. So that will be Monday. I'm going to look into that. And if that sentencing is Monday, we definitely will be live streaming that, because that normally comes on in the morning. So that will be before Doomsday Mom, with all her shenanigans. So for Emily Boswell, that's the baby's name. The mother, she'll be in a thumbnail or something. We'll say something about her name. I don't care. So in the case of Emily Boswell, the mother was found guilty. She didn't get enough time for me. However, she has these additional charges that they did not charge her with. She got concurrent sentences for what she did. The way she threw that baby away was horrible. I do not think that her sentences should have been ran concurrent. She lied over and over again about where that baby was. And it was sad that she put that baby in the garbage on her father's property, her father and brother's property. And that put her inside this big shed, which they built as a dollhouse for her when she was a child, but she was using it for storage. The father saw her backed up with her trunk up to the shed. He thought she was just putting some more things in, so he left. So it was all a play about her trying to, I don't know if she was trying to make it seem like somebody else, but the medical examiner in that case, oh my gosh, she was not trying to hear the defense attorney's questions. And she did bring something to the light. Like, she believes that Emily Boswell was alive. She said if she wasn't, why would she take the time to wrap her face in aluminum foil when you're already going to put a blanket on her, over her, but you also put her in the garbage bags, face down in the garbage, and left that baby in that shed? Why are we being so lenient with sentences when it comes to monsters like that? So anyway, hopefully the judge will give her the max sentence, and now hopefully he's not going to have it ran concurrently. The cases need to be, the sentencing needs to be ran. It needs to be ran consecutively. That means that when she finished this over here is when she can start this time over here. She thought this was a whole joke. She threw that baby in the garbage and went on about her life. With a new boyfriend, everything. And somehow they were trying to implement the boyfriend, her attorneys. His father testified. He was in a psychiatric facility because of what happened. Because, I'm dating this person, and so the prosecution does not believe that he had anything to do with this case. So with the unaliving of her, so he was in charge. It's Imani Boswell. Case of Imani Boswell. She was unalived by her mother. Wrapped in garbage can, wrapped in aluminum foil, put in a garbage head first, put in a shed, which was a dollhouse built for her when she was a child. It was on a big piece of land. And so, so they're having a final hearing for her on the 15th of April, a sentencing hearing. They sentenced her to the more serious crimes. She's going to be sentenced on the rest. I believe it's April 15th. I'm going to have to pull that up. To get the court date, I will definitely let you guys know. Hey, Nessa C. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. So, this was just a brief update. So I'm going to end this one because I didn't want to put it on the same live about the Doomsday Mom, because that's a whole nother story in this daggone South. Like we like been talking in the middle at lunchtime yesterday. We really went back and did a deep dive and have everybody understand how extensive this case is. So I'm not even going to talk about that case over here. So I'm just going to end this and just go on the stream that I have set up for Lori Daybell on day 4, the afternoon after lunch, because we did the morning. And I'm going to have to end the show just the same way I end the show, by bringing awareness that men get breast cancer too. Because of the stigma surrounding the word breast, we have changed the name to chest and or pec cancer over here. We need men to know that they do get breast cancer though. So we're trying to, and we're going to continue to stop the stigma about, men getting breast cancer. We're going to stop that. We're going to let them know, because sometimes, we have a ribbon that it's sometimes it's pink, sometimes it's blue, because women get breast cancer, but men do too. So a lot of men don't know that. So yes, that's one of the things that I make people aware every day after the show. It's not only am I a breast cancer survivor, my uncle is too. So I want to, he's twice. So I'm bringing awareness to that. And to my ladies, please make sure that you're getting your mammograms, filling on your boobies to make sure that you are all right. All right. Don't you dare let anyone come into your house and disturb the peace that passes all understanding. I'm Survivor Speaks. I will see you soon if you come back for the Lori Daybell continuation of day 4. I just didn't want to put it in the same video. This was, like I said, an impromptu video. So I will definitely see you guys log on over there so we can finish that trial for today. And thank you so much for coming. And Christine Fortunato, thank you too for stopping by. I hope you, if you feel like watching a rewatch, we're going to do the second half of the Lori Daybell trial. I refuse to call her Lori Vallow. She wanted to be married to Chad, so that's who she is, Lori Daybell. So we're going to do the Lori Daybell trial, and see you in a minute. Bye.
Survivor Speaks is the name at the end of the day. People love me or hate me, I don't care either way. Breast cancer busted through like a leaf in the night. A cancer's ass is knocked out before the end of the fight. A champion coming through, knocking everything out. This is how if you see, I do nothing for clout. Just like cancer, I'll let nothing take me out. So be respectful when you step foot inside of my house. Over here to have your ass escorted on out. So how about the bushes? Wipe your feet, take a seat, and get comfortable and chill with your girl. Survivor Speaks, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Who, what? I'm Survivor Speaks. What time is it? What time is it? It's time for you to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time that I go live. Yeah.